September 25th. Please stand for our invocation led by Vice President Manzi, District 2, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we come thanking you for all good and perfect gifts, thanking you for life, for the activity of our limbs, for the ability to be a citizen in such a great country. Lord, asking that you look down upon this city, upon our honorable mayor, upon this distinguished council, and all of our citizens. Bless the work of our hands, the thoughts of our minds, and even the beats of our hearts as we go to make a better society in your name. Asking that you look down upon and confirm those who are jailed, those who are going through hours of bereavement. Be with them in a very special like manner. Bless this city, every inch of it, to be what you would have it to be, and its leadership to lead in the ways that you would have us to lead. These and other blessings we ask. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was so weak. Good morning.
Good morning.
The rules of the council are quite serious. These are serious rules that we must enforce, and they start by asking that all electronic devices be silenced or turned off upon entering the meeting. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in, indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the council meeting. When addressing the council, we ask that each speaker clearly state his or her name and address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office Thursday prior to the Tuesday you'd like to speak, no later than 2 o'clock. All speakers are asked to make certain that their presentation is pertinent to City of Mobile business. If you haven't given that proper notice to the clerk's office, then you won't be allowed to speak. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 4 minutes, and you'll have 1 minute remaining for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time, unfortunately, has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal mention of any individual council member. All statements are to be made to the chair, which is me, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Again, thank you for coming and for your interest in your municipal government. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of September 18th.
So move.
Second.
The motion is second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody this morning. Because of, I think it won't be a very long agenda, but my remarks will be brief in case it turns into a long agenda. There's one item that I would bring attention to. It's an economic development project, and subject to the council voting in the affirmative of it, we'll tell you who they are, but I'll give you a little insight into the company from the standpoint that this will be a $58 million capital investment. It'll be 55 jobs. There's be the first time in the history of the city that we'll have a company that will be importing a product and then taking those same containers and exporting to turn around the containers, which is a big deal. This is a result of hard work by the Chamber of Commerce, the county, the Port Authority, all who were fighting for this to win this project. And we're hopeful that we'll get a vote in the affirmative of that, but it's also a result of the expansion of the container port at the port. So anyway, it'd be great news, great economic development news for the city of Mobile. So I would also like to direct to Director Barber, who does have a couple of proclamations to read, firefighter to recognize. So Director Barber.
You know, I have the honor today to recognize our firefighter of the month, along with Chief Laney. But Fire Service Driver Jonathan Lyles, along with 3 other firefighters from Mobile Fire Rescue Department, volunteered to take the Alabama Smoke Divers 40-hour course for firefighters wishing to sharpen their current skills with realistic training and to learn new skills and techniques that will assist them throughout their career. This is a challenging course involving multiple facets of the firefighting profession. Students participate in physically and mentally taxing exercises in multiple environments. Each day begins with a fitness events followed by drill field evolutions in scenarios that include heat, smoke, and live fire training. The majority of the course takes place on a drill field in full personal protective equipment. Each student is expected to have basic understanding of firefighter survival and rapid intervention prior to attending the course. This allows extensive training in the following areas: proper donning of personal protective equipment, correctly addressing restricted openings, search and rescue procedures, rapid intervention practices, interior structure fire procedures, proper procedure for declaring a mayday, and rapid escape procedures. The Smoke Diver is a physically demanding course which requires students to be in good physical condition, and it is with great pride that we acknowledge the accomplishments of Fire Service Driver Lyles. Now, therefore, on behalf of the citizens and with our sincere thanks, we are pleased to award the certificate of recognition to him as Firefighter of the Month for September 2018, signed Mayor William S. Stimson, Vice President of City Council Levon Manzi, and Fire Chief Paul Seeley. In the proper perspective, only 1/10 of 1% of firefighters in Alabama achieved this certificate. So congratulations to Firefighter Driver.
I'd just like to comment that having firefighters like Firefighter Lyle and others that became smoke divers, having that classification, certainly helps us in our quest to become an ISO city, ISO 1 rating, to really have one of the premier or best fire departments in the United States. So again, congratulations. And that concludes my comments.
Proclamation.
We have a proclamation from Councilor Rich.
There's a very large crowd of individuals down here representing different groups because this is a really terrific initiative. And if I could call up Chris Graves and come up, and anyone else who he believes should be up front and center on the proclamation. Yeah. Great. If you get called up, you better come up. Absolutely. Don't be shy. Everybody gathered up. terrific. Whereas the City of Mobile has recently launched a major new initiative, Project Thrive, aimed at stopping and addressing the many costs of violent crime in our city. And whereas Project Thrive, which stands for Trauma, Healing, Resiliency in the Wake of Violent Events, is working to do this through creating a trauma-informed community through strong agency participationships, continuous community education. And whereas in the effort, they have formed an incredible collaboration with many key community partners, including the Mobile Police Department, Mobile County Public School System, University of South Alabama, Mobile County Health Department, Boys and Girls Clubs of South Alabama, Alta Point, Strickland Youth Center, 100 Black Men of Greater Mobile Incorporated, Child Advocacy Center, and Atlas Industrial Outsourcing, Inc. And whereas, through these key agencies and partners working together to recognize and address the impact of trauma in our citizens' lives, we can become a safer community. And whereas we must continue to raise awareness throughout our entire whole community regarding the prevalence of trauma, impact, and responses to trauma, and work together to ensure that those impacted resist practices that cause even more harm. Now therefore I, Bess Rich, Council Member of District 6, along with our Mayor and members of the Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, September 25th, 2018, as Project Thrive Awareness Day in Mobile, and urge all our citizens to learn more about this very important program and become part of the trauma-informed community, because together we can make a difference and our city safer. Thank you. Let's take a photo and then everybody gather in? Got it? Okay. Now, rather than just reading the proclamation, if the council will allow some more dialogue about this, because it's such an important initiative. They have a program that they're going to introduce to, which if you'll just from here, that would be terrific. Really would appreciate it. Okay, great, whomever. Okay, let's set that aside.
You know what, 30 years in law enforcement with the City of Mobile, as your former police chief, as the current director of public safety, we've realized that we have got a lot of victims of violent crime that are showing up in our hospitals, treated, and then released right back into the exact same environment that caused the violent criminal activity to begin with. And the person, all too often, either ends up being the victim of a homicide or the perpetrator of a homicide. And so we realize that just Mobile Police, I can tell you, is one of the best in the country at identifying, apprehending, and assisting in the prosecution of violent criminals. But we realize that until we stop that trigger from being pulled, we will never be the safest city in America, which is what our quest is. And so making sure that we're treating that victim, finding out what in that environment is happening that is causing this violent activity, and then the retaliation that goes along with violent criminal acts. And so I've long said, and I told the mayor 5 years ago, we are not going to be able to arrest our way out of this problem. We're going to have to change the conditions within our environment that cause violent criminal activity. 3 years ago, I tasked Curtis Graves, who is the commander of the Strategic Initiatives of Mobile PD, a very new unit, to turn that spigot of violent criminal activity off and to stop the reciprocating violence that we're seeing within our streets. I can tell you he's done an incredible job working with the family intervention team, with the DA's office, and all these different social partners that we've brought together to make sure that every bit of the services that that victim needs are being attended to, so that we can prevent this type of activity from recurring. But Thrive has the full support of the mayor, Sandy Stimson, and the city council, as each one of you have been met with and told about this program. But I can tell you that the city of Mobile is only one out of 6 cities in this country that have this type of program. And it is the largest city in the southeast that has this victim assistance program, and it is the only city on the Gulf Coast. And so with Mobile PD leading national initiatives, we do understand that we must do things differently to achieve the goals that we set out to be the safest city in America. But I will mention also that Thrive will have a meeting tonight with parents at Williamson to talk about this particular initiative. And from here, I would like to introduce you Curtis Graves, who is the spearhead of this project. Curtis. Chief Batiste.
My comments are brief. First of all, thank you to Councilwoman Rich for the proclamation and the rest of the council for approving that. To Curtis Graves, the Director of Strategic Initiatives, and all our collaborators, because we could not have done what we've done with Project Thrive without everybody coming to the table, putting egos aside, and working together to address the trauma in our community. Reminded as I stand here of the time that I spent at the Child Advocacy Center, I'm wondering why it take us so long to get to this point, because we used a multidisciplinary approach to addressing the trauma that have been caused to our victims of sex crimes. And what this project really does is give us an opportunity to truly focus on the impact of trauma to the victims in the community. And sometimes the best justice is making sure that we can take our victims and make them productive citizens as they heal from the trauma that they've experienced. So thank you to Commander Graves and everybody that worked on this initiative, and thank you to the council and the mayor for supporting such an initiative.
First of all, I'd like to say that earlier, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge all of our partners. I won't go by and identify their names, but without their partnership and relationship with the city of Mobile, this could not be done. So thank you. Project Thrive stands for Trauma, Healing, Resiliency in the Wake of Violent Events. Intervention, prevention, and trauma are not new words to the City of Mobile Police Department or the City of Mobile. In fact, in 1998, the Alabama Department of Economic and Cultural Affairs funded the research of Dr. Timothy O'Shea and Jonathan Archer to assist the City of Mobile and the Mobile Police Department in creating a family intervention team. The team would be responsible for assisting law enforcement officers by providing prevention, intervention, trauma-related services to at-risk youth and their families. So this is not something that I've created. This is something that I hope to enhance with my partners. Fast forward to 2016. Public Safety Director James Barber, then Chief Barber, gave this commander a mandate, as he stated earlier, to improve the existing services to the family intervention team. The focus would be to reduce the impact of trauma on victims of crimes by reducing re-victimization. In 2017, under Chief Lawrence Batiste, this process of building a sustainable program that could reduce the impact of violent events on citizens of our community began. The enhanced mission of the Family Intervention Team, now under the banner of Project Thrive, started. Project Thrive is all about community teamwork. That's it. The creation of Project Thrive has made the City of Mobile one of 6 cities in the United States, a trauma-informed city. We're now the largest city in the Southeast, as Director Barber stated, that's trauma-informed. That's pretty big. It's huge. But our efforts in becoming a trauma-informed city has recently helped our community secure an award from the Department of Justice totaling $434,000 over a 3-year period to enhance our existing services to victims of violent crimes in need of financial assistance for services relevant to the crime committed against them. In closing, I'd just like to say that the agencies that make Project Thrive know that a city is only as strong as its weakest community or family. Creating a safer community starts with understanding the impact of trauma or what the impact of trauma has on the community. Without excusing negative behavior, Project Thrive will encourage everyone to no longer ask the question, what's wrong with you? But rather, what happened to you? Project Thrive seeks to bridge the gap of trauma-informed care in the city of Mobile by linking communities to every viable resource this city has to offer its residents when in a crisis, with the intentional goal of improving pro-social community interaction and pro-academic achievement. We believe that this holistic approach to trauma-informed care provides the greatest opportunity in making Mobile the safest and most business-friendly city in America with respect for everyone. Thank you.
Vice President Manzi. Yeah, I would like to thank Commander Graves and also Chief Baptiste and also Public Safety Director Barton and even our Mayor Sandy Stimson for investing into this. But we know that we have a lot of trauma and hurt our community. And when I say community, the city and certain areas of Mobile. And with them building a gap between the gap between the city and the public is a great thing. And to help us to start the healing process within our community, for we can have a better community for not just for today, but for tomorrow. And also one thing that we need to work on and not forget, besides the trauma, is that mental illness. You know, we have mental illness just really affecting our community. And whatever the mayor put before my office, and I believe I can speak for the rest of the council, that would support the mental illness and the trauma in our community, I believe that, I know he would have the support of this council. But again, thank you all so much for your help.
Yes, sir. Madam City Clerk.
Monthly finance report.
And if we want to take time, if there's some of our visitors who need to leave, we certainly understand that. Thank you again to all the partners with Project Thrive, to Commander Graves, keep up the great work, Chief Batiste, our Public Safety Director, thank you. It's a very unique initiative and glad to have it here.
Thank you, Mayor Stimson, too.
And Mayor Stimson.
Very much so.
Thank you. Mayor Stimson, for your leadership in this regard. I'm just waiting till they leave out. All right, Mr. Finance Director.
Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Vice President, members of the council. I wanted to take this space this morning to update you on something we first talked about 3 months ago. As you may recall, on June 22nd, we celebrated the Supreme Court decision in South Dakota versus Wayfair to strike down the requirement that a vendor in e-commerce must have physical presence in the state in order for them to be subject to the payment of sales and use tax. In our view, that made remote sellers subject to our 5% use tax in the same way that, for example, Walmart.com pays us 5% use tax, which is equal to our sales tax. However, on July 3rd, the Alabama Department of Revenue announced that it would use a non-legislative rulemaking authority that it has to subject all of those remote sellers to the SSUT, which, remember, is the Simplified Seller's Use Tax. And even with the improvements that we were able to engineer in the last session, that causes cities like Mobile to have a distribution of 2.4% in SSUT tax as opposed to our 5%. Also, Mobile would be barred from exercising any of our collection activities, enforcement, audit, and related actions. So in late August, we met with the Alabama Department of Revenue to express our position that we have jurisdiction to collect those taxes. Nonetheless, the Department of Revenue decided to stay with their proposed rule, and that requires that there be a public hearing and that rule be subject to the potential of a legislative council review in which the legislature could approve or reject or modify those rules. A hearing was held on September 3rd, and the City of Mobile was present. Flo Kessler and Gwen Hall represented us there. There were a number of other cities in Alabama who were present, and all who spoke in opposition. Nevertheless, a short while later, ADOR, Department of Revenue, issued its final rule, and now it becomes subject to review by the legislature. We don't know the schedule for that yet. As you know, we are in a strange period of time with an election that will decide roughly 1/3 of our legislators going forward. So that legislative council is probably not fully stocked with members right now. We're attempting to gain some clarity on how that procedure will go forward. But we will be challenging that rule. The purpose of my telling you all this is, one, to inform you and update you, but number two, there may come a time when we will ask for your help in announcing the City Council's position on this matter. I think some of our fellow cities will be doing the same thing, or we trust that they will. So we don't know how this will come out, and the legislature will have the final say. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about this.
Any questions for Mr. West? I think we're ready, willing, and able to do our part. We sent a letter to the mayor maybe 2 weeks ago asking that we sit down and set some elective legislative initiatives. I think that certainly could be one of them, and I'm hopeful that the administration is amenable to that meeting.
I think you'll find that to be the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
I would, Mr. Chairman, like to, unless it's already been done, administratively move the budget to the last item on the agenda.
We didn't hear you clearly, Mr. Williams. I'm sorry.
So, I said unless it had been administratively done, and I didn't think it had been, I would like to move the agenda item addressing the budget to be moved to the very last item on the agenda.
Okay.
That needs to be seconded and voted on as well.
Okay, so that's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, because it's kind of in the middle.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Now we need to go to the motion back on the agenda. That was an amendment, basically. So now adopt the agenda, yeah?
No.
No, doesn't need to be? You don't think so? Okay. Madam Clerk says no.
Okay.
All right, we're ready to go.
All right.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on October 2nd, 3rd, 9th, 10th, 16th, 17th, 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 31st from 6 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. and October 5th and 6th from 6 p.m. until 10:30 p.m. That's on Dolphin Street, O'Daly's Irish Pub. Someone has signed in to address this issue. And that is Casey again.
That was the gentleman.
No,
He's coming.
he's coming.
How y'all doing?
Good morning.
My name's Don Quixote. I live at 554 St. Francis Street. And I'd like to understand what's going on.
Your name is what now?
Don Quixote.
That's not your name, Mr. Gann. Come
A little
on.
bit of humor.
Oh, okay. We didn't get it. I'm sorry. we didn't get it.
Just trying to line things up
Hey, I'm all for it.
about a serious matter.
Yes, sir.
No, it is.
Well, when I left here 2 weeks ago, there was supposed to be a meeting to sit down with John Peoples, myself, and Matt Lamont to discuss this. Never heard a thing.
Well, we couldn't get in contact with one of the principal parties until recently, so we couldn't coordinate a meeting.
Well, I just left hanging. I'd like to understand the process and what's going on and where we stand with the Performance Code. Simple things.
Well, Mr. Lamont has agreed to lessen the sound. We're going to give him an opportunity to do that.
And what's going to keep him in check, if you don't mind?
Well,
we've been down this road, see?
Yes, sir.
And it didn't work. Minute you turn your back, off and running. I live down there. I don't think a lot of these people understand the levity of the noise downtown and what it's going to do to people trying to live down there. It is extremely loud. It's not just the bars. It's motorcycles. It's boom cars. Everything bounces off the concrete constantly. And you get sensitized to this. I'm old. I'm tired. I mean, I don't know what you think the demographics are going to be downtown. Do you think it's all going to be young people? No, it's not. They can't afford these apartments down here. It's going to be middle class, middle-aged people like me. And they don't want to hear this. This is if you go out and you take a survey in downtown of the residents, you'll find out I'm telling you is true. Every one of them tell me that's the discussion downtown is the noise. And there's condos and the townhouses being built everywhere without any consideration to this. People are not going to stay. I had 4 rental houses on Cedar Street. I couldn't keep renters in them. That's why I sold them. It's just not working. You know, and there's going to be big changes downtown. And the turnover is going to be incredible. But mainly what I really want to understand here is the form-based code. What is the purpose? I mean, if you can write waivers, 38 of them in 3 months for one bar, the next place only has 3 in a year. In 3 months, he had more waivers than the whole city of Mobile. That just doesn't make sense to me. What do we spend our money for on the form-based code if we're not going to abide by it? But I'm all for it. You know, if he wants to, all we're asking for is a compromise. That's all. Simple. Lose the amplifiers. You've got a 40 by 50 foot space back there. You don't need a PA system, especially downtown. And that's all I'm saying. But, you know, I just don't like getting hung. I mean, it's left there hanging. What's going to happen? Mr. People said he didn't know what's going to happen. He's got $3 million invested in this building. And it's opening soon, like in a week. So, you know, hopefully y'all take this into consideration and realize what's going on. I mean, I'd love to sit down with anybody and talk to about the ins and outs of downtown. I've lived down there for 15 years. I ride a bicycle every day. I have insomnia. I get up in the night and I ride a bicycle. And I see what goes on downtown. Nobody else sees this. Unless you live down there 24/7, you don't see it. And there's issues. And I can help you with it. I know most everybody downtown. And they would be here too, except they have jobs. They can't take off. I'm retired. I can. And that's why I call myself Don Quixote. I'm fighting a windmill.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is not a council matter. This is a public safety matter. This is a public safety matter.
Yes, sir, it is.
This is not a matter. We have the director of public safety in the house. So this is it's nothing, he can't, if you want done, it's going to cause a city employee to do it. It's not him.
Well, I understand. I'm trying to find out the process.
No, I'm talking, you can't debate me. You can't debate me now. I heard you, you got to hear me. We're in charge of one person. That she is right there. So you want somebody to come out there to do something, we can't send somebody out there. If the noise is too loud, you have to call the police. It's a police matter. Then they bring a decibel out there. It's a police, it's not his, it's nothing he can do. You have to call the police. It's a police matter.
They say I have to come to, police tell me I have to come to the city council.
Call the police. We have decibel meters. And
So-
they come and read the decibel meter and see if the noise is too loud. If it's too loud, there's something they can do. Call the police.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it's just a point of clarity, just so everybody understands. So, calling the police is okay if breaking the ordinance, but the council is actually being asked to vote on waiving the ordinance. So if
Yeah.
somebody has a waiver in hand,
It's not you.
then the police won't be able to do anything. And that's what's before the council to be
That's what's
voted on.
And
before us.
these ways are circumventing our protection as citizens.
I think there's a lot of them.
If it was the Mitchell Center asking for 38 waivers,
We've,
Madam City Clerk,
we
is
hear
the
you
timer
loud and clear.
going?
Now,
Oh, okay. I hadn't heard a bell. This time, we hadn't heard the bell now.
we hear you loud and clear.
We hear you, Mr. Gann. This is where we are. The reason this bar has had so many waivers is because this bar sponsors these wiffle ball tournaments that have become really popular and have added to the culture and vitality of downtown. One of the reasons so many people want to live there is because all that's going on down there. And so he has agreed to lessen the noise. Your issue is the noise. He's agreed to lessen the amplifiers and to lessen the PA system. If it doesn't work, I want you to contact me. When he applies for the next waiver, we can take that under consideration. But that's the one reason why this one particular bar has asked for so many waivers.
and why does he need
Mr.
the
Chairman,
waiver?
Really?
by rules, we're done. We don't do back and forth dialogue. You've been heard loud and clear.
Right.
Trust me, you've been heard loud and clear. And my question, Mr. Chairman, if I can have the floor for a second.
Sure.
I did hear Mr. Woods, but we need to go back and check the law. It does not allow them to have uncontrollable noise just because they have a piece of paper in their hand from the city council. The administration still has a responsibility to ensure that the maximum allowed decibels are not exceeded. This does not give you a free-for-all. It simply says that you may exceed the nighttime decibel mark. We'll clarify you another time. This is not going to be a dialogue.
Right.
So I'm
what
asking administration to keep an eye on that piece of property, and if necessary, this body will come back and revoke those waivers. But we're going to have some type of reasonable cooperation with that establishment. I know I recognize the jurisdiction, so to speak, of Mr. Manzi and his district, but this is a city matter. And so while I'm going to support the waiver this time, I might be missing something. Ms. Rich, you want to share?
Yeah, no, I was sorry. We're going to, I apologize.
Okay. Because I'm interested in this dialogue, and I'm really against a blanket waiver, and that's essentially what we're doing. But I am for allowing different types of activities to go on regularly downtown.
Absolutely.
But it has to be with respect to all that are residing in that location. This is a city map. And so while I know this is going to pass today, I want the administration to recognize their participation in this. Just because we waive it does not say that, well, it's done now, we've washed our hands of the council as acted.
I guess we need to understand that if there's going to be a waiver, what the conditions on the waiver are. And if I heard you correctly, you said he's going to turn it down, but I don't know how you measure down between up until 10:30 p.m. So for example, if he does not turn it off at 10:30 p.m., then the police would have jurisdiction to come in. But the earlier hours, I don't know how you would judge whether he was making excessive noise or not, because he's essentially gotten a waiver.
The expectation would be that he would lessen the noise to the, and this is that's been communicated to him, because what's essentially at stake is any future waiver. Because I am at about here with hearing from Mr. Ginn, not because of him personally, but because of this complaint consistently. And so if this doesn't work, and that's some of the conversation that we were having over here to the left, is relative to, if this doesn't work, then how do we move forward with this one particular, and I want, he's a young entrepreneur, he's got 2 or 3 businesses that are really thriving. This isn't a bar culture, some kind of out of control something. This is an organized wiffle ball tournament that people have gotten real excited about. And so, Mr. Ginn, what I would ask you, and I'd ask my colleagues, is let's work. He's made the commitment. I believe this commitment. We've asked the administration relative to enforcement to enforce certain that the rules are being abided by relative to the time and any other rules. And if that doesn't happen, I ask you to communicate that to my office, and we'll take that under very, very serious consideration as we get any future requests from this particular establishment.
I appreciate that, but I've tried to call your office this week and I couldn't get through at all. You know, I just couldn't get through.
208, there's secretaries there all the time. 208-7411.
Dialogue, Mr. Chairman.
I have a question of our legal counsel, if I may. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. When this council approves, if we're going to approve all these dates, there's a noise ordinance on our books of certain decibels during the day and at night. And I think it's like 85 during the day is acceptable, and then 50, I think, at night. So by giving a waiver, we don't say you can't go above 92 decibels, because then there would be something measurable. So for the hours that this applicant is asking, until 6 to 10 p.m., sort of all bets are off on noise, correct? Because we don't limit what that waiver involves.
Except for his personal commitment to reduce the amount of noise. And I guess what's happening is that if he's given this waiver and he still is disturbing the neighborhood, if he doesn't keep his word, then the next time he applies, he may not get the permit.
Right.
And I did want to point out that if this continues to be an issue, and it probably will, there may be some structural problems with the noise ordinance. Mr. Gant lives in the downtown area, and the zoning for all of downtown within the Henry Aaron Loop is embodied in what is known as the DDD code. It's the Downtown Development District. Within the DDD zoning code is a reference to the city's noise ordinance. So that ordinance is effective throughout downtown Mobile, but it's the same noise ordinance that applies to the rest of the city, but it's specifically mentioned in the DDD code. Now, what it says about waivers is that that people who are having special events are entitled to waivers. There's no general authority to waive the provisions of the ordinance. So if you want to have a more granular or refined approach to noise, particularly at that end of Dauphin Street, where then you might want to consider an ordinance amendment. So there's a couple of ways to skin the cat, but I guess the basic message is, I guess the owner of the bar has said, give me one more chance.
And I know that you want in with this issue, Mr. Ginn. I'm asking that we give him an opportunity. We're in contact. If it doesn't work out with this opportunity, any other application that we get, we're going to take the fact that it didn't work out under very serious consideration.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't want to get all up in your business. Since the bar owner has said he will limit to some degree, the noise for the wiffle ball. And since we want to give the guy a chance to make good on his word, instead of giving him a blanket month-long noise waiver, would it be possible to give only 2 or 3 of these and see how it goes, and then make him come back for yet another waiver? Because if he does not stay true to his word, then we don't have to give him a noise waiver.
Yeah, like just approve certain dates.
Like the first 2 or 3, because it's like the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 9th would be the first ones. And then he would have time to come back and apply for another waiver at that point.
See, I don't know, because he's got 2 separate sets of events here. He's got the 2nd, 3rd, and 9th, and October 5th and 6th.
Those are weekends.
Yeah.
I don't know how that plans into and works into what he's got planned with his wiffle ball, and I don't want to be an encumbrance to that.
Well, we can always add him to an agenda or something.
Has Mr. Gann's time expired?
Yeah, he needs to be seated.
You
He needs to
welcome
be
to sit
seated.
down, Mr. Your time has expired, Mr. Gann. Thank you
Let's,
for coming down here.
We're not through.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I know this much. If you're gonna catch a flight, we need to move on.
Well, let's.
Get his word for
I don't think we need to do that.
Right.
I don't think this is in 2. I don't march into y'all's districts. I don't want y'all marching in mine.
Amen.
Can I ask a question? Since there's been
Y'all
dialogue
marching in my
about,
district.
excuse me.
I'm listening.
This is a legal question. Since there's been dialogue that your office outreach to the person making these applications, and they have expressed to you that they will lower the volume, if we give these waivers for all these dates and we learn otherwise, do we have the opportunity to take back waivers once we give them, or is that revoked, or are they set?
We can reverse.
Yeah, I mean, if the date hasn't passed,
We
you
would
can
be able
always
to take care of it then.
revocation, but you've got to give notice. and-
Okay, that makes me feel
Right.
better.
Okay, Madam City Clerk. Where are we with Madam City Clerk? Mr. Gann. We need to move forward.
Trying to help, man.
I understand, but she needs to. Thank you.
Okay, so now, we want to take all of these together, so I'll go to the next ones. Request for a waiver of the noise ordinance, November 6, 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. on Dolphin Street. March 23rd, 2019, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Cathedral Square. November 21st, 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. This is on Halls Mill Road. October 27th, 3 p.m. until 11 p.m. on Government Street. October 26th, 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. in Cathedral Square. And October 5th, 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. on LeSure Drive.
So moved.
Second?
Probably motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Vice President.
Mr. Small?
Just to go back to that particular appeal, also, probably want to tell them, Vice President, that the time was cut down
To 10:30,
on
yeah.
October 5th and 6th.
It'll be on the letter.
Yes, it was cut down just for the public to know. And also, I had the same circumstances with, a club in District 3. They did not know any better, but once we told them,
Right.
they started abiding by the rules. So, I would, Vice President, if you can ask, the administration to get with the Public Safety Director and ask them to observe this for the next couple of weeks and just make sure that everything's going good. And if it's going back, like our attorney said, we could probably go back and revoke this.
Sounds like a plan. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
I would also just reiterate, I know that the noise and commercialization next to residential, of course, downtown is very eclectic, but there should be the best balance we can get, and because I've been made aware that if we have to, based on your dialogue, revoke the ones that are now on an application, that makes me feel better about approving it. So I hope we hear only good news in the future.
That's great. Glad you feel better. Any other
I do.
comments?
No.
If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Public hearings today is a public hearing to rezone property at 56, 566, 576, and 600 Ziegler Circle East, 7331 Ziegler Circle South, southeast corner of Ziegler Circle East, and Sellers Lane from B3 to I1.
Is there anyone here that'd like to speak to this particular public hearing? If not, the public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk, if we could take all public hearings together, please.
Okay. Public hearing to rezone property at 5803, 5807, 5811, 5812 Waltman Lane, southeast corner of Waltman Lane, and long from R1 to R3. Public hearing to consider approval of application of Lewis Peter Iman King Fundraising, doing business as King Limos for certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a limousine service. Public hearing to determine if the structures at 1603 Duval Street, 1808 Delta Street, 1653 Duval Street, 1710 William Street, 1383 Riviera Drive East, 1203 Michigan Avenue are public nuisances, ordering them demolished.
That did it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's it?
Yeah, I'm at there.
Okay.
Is there anyone here that'd like to speak to any of said public hearings, those properties?
How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Y'all know me as, they got me down as Salami Wiley, but everybody don't know me by that name. They know me Sweet.
That's right.
My mama got a piece of land, I grew up there, on 1710 William Street in Trinity Garden. And the house needs some help. So my niece, they put a notice on the house.
Did you give us your address?
Is it time for that?
Your address. We need your address.
1710 William Street.
Yes, ma'am.
No, that's not Sweet address.
That's my mama's house. I'm in Trinity Garden. She was in Trinity Garden, but she dead.
Need your address. You.
Sweet, he wants your address.
Huh? Oh, 1600 Rose Street.
Nah.
Yes, there we go.
Well, you know I'm on the street where they call it Bug Street. But I need to get a permit, and you know what they call this our property. But I'm the only sibling living for my mama. So I need to try to get a permit to try to work on the house. And they said, the guy told me that he think that it could be fixed. I got my niece, she pays the taxes, and she in the Navy. And me and her got together, and she said she was gonna try to help get it fixed. What need to be did?
That's Mr. David Doffenbach.
We got a man for you.
Mr. Doffenbach, if you could get with Miss Wiley, and you can tell her all that needs to be done. We don't issue permits, but Mr. Doffenbach can tell you where you need to go. Right there. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I know him from way back. Y'all know I know y'all.
Oh, yeah.
I know it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm concerned about 1653.
We need your name and address. I'm sorry.
Deborah Douglas.
Yes, ma'am.
Closer. I'm concerned about 1653 Duval Street.
What is your home address?
My home address, 1310 Willow Lane.
Yes, ma'am. And you're concerned about what now?
1653 Duval Street.
Well, the gentleman that can answer your concerns is Mr. David Doffenbach. Mr. Doffenbach, will you raise your hand? If you could get with this, yes, ma'am. If you could get with him, he'll be able to answer your questions.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming down. Anyone else that would like to speak on any of these particular properties? If not, the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Sherry Graham.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Sherry Graham. I reside at 513 Magnolia Road, 3606. Since 19... Oh. since 2015, I've been working in keeping our kids safe on a national level. In 2016, I was made aware that the stats in Mobile, City of Mobile County and Baldwin County, where we are all working, increased. We formed a grassroots community committee known as the South Alabama Mental Wellness Conference. It was created to educate, open dialogue about the areas related to mental health and mental wellness. We focused on mental illness and community violence, but remembered that other things co-occur around both, and they're not always attributed to each other. Today, I would like to thank the City of Mobile for awarding us with 2 proclamations about 2 events that are occurring this month. First of all, Matt Anderson has information for each council member and the mayor to inform you of what we've been doing for 3 years, providing ongoing education, not just in the City of Mobile, but between Mobile and Baldwin counties, thus bridging the gulf on mental wellness. We actually have people from Mobile County who've never been to Baldwin County and vice versa, who are now traveling across the bridge to attend our workshops and our programs. This Thursday, we invite the council member, the mayor, any of the city staff who would like to attend our last celebration, because in 3 years we have bridged the gulf on mental wellness. It is a small step. We honor the fact that the City of Mobile has taken on itself to become one of the 7 trauma-informed communities in the country. We've been working with the City of Richmond, Virginia over the last year to work at trauma-informed care. And through this, we created a trauma-informed community network as of last year. We look forward to participating with the City of Mobile and the Thrive Project, as well as other communities around, so that we can become a safer and healthier community, and a happier community. See, I told you we had a happy message today. 2 groups, one of which is here and one of which had to leave, have been honored by the city, and I would like to recognize both of them. First, this month, thank you, Mayor Stimson, is honoring the Recovery Month in the City of Mobile for those who have gone through treatment and who are in a lifetime of recovery. We thank you for honoring and being part of the National Recovery Month across the country. Second, we thank the city for honoring my last final conference, because as of January, I'm turning the chairpersonship over to Mike Young, who is standing, I think, behind me. The committee will become under a new name to fully embrace community health, community mental health, and also trauma-informed community network. We believe it takes all of us. There's a we in wellness and an I in illness, and the we oversees the I. More importantly, it is something that we can all work on together, not just this council, but every council within both counties, because what occurs in every other county has a direct economic impact to all of us. I would like for Mike to read the proclamation proclaiming September 7th, Trauma-Informed Community Network Day. Mike?
Whereas the effects of trauma are felt by people everywhere, regardless of age, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, gender, or work environment, and whereas the South Alabama Mental Wellness Conference is a grassroots group of nonprofits, public agencies, and businesses committed to bringing increased awareness of the mental health delivery crisis in Mobile. Whereas the conference has the goal to connect all impacted in order to ensure efficient collaborations through a trauma-informed community network, and whereas this observance serves as an opportunity to raise awareness and increase access to mental health services in a trauma-informed way. Now therefore, I, William Stimson, 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, Alabama, do hereby encourage Mobilians to participate in the observance of Trauma-Informed Community Network Day.
We thank everyone and want a round of a happy clap for all of our partners who are sitting in the back. Thank you.
Brian Phelan, Mayor.
Good morning. My name is Brian Fuenmayor. You just call me Brian. I live at 310 North Conception Street in Menzies District. I've been a resident in Mobile since I was 10 years old, so that's 25 years now. Graduated at W.P. Davidson High School and Southeast College Technology. I'm here today to introduce myself as the founder and executive director of Rainbow Mobile, which is a new local nonprofit organization that serves the LGBT community of Mobile and surrounding areas. A couple of weeks ago, we organized a historic event in Mobile and the state of Alabama called Drag Queen Story Hour. I wanted to thank the City Council for citing our First Amendment rights when some concerned citizens to cancel the event. Despite the pushback we received, it was an extremely successful event where it reached a maximum capacity of 290 people, full of parents and children, and sadly even had to turn some families away because we just didn't have the space. In addition, we also had 300 supporters outside. With the outpouring of love, compassion, and support from the community of Mobile, it was an exciting and exceptional day for the LGBT community. We also wanted to thank the Mobile Public Library and the Mobile Police Departments for their excellent job to make sure this was a safe and peaceful event for everyone there. We at Rainbow Mobile sincerely believe that, despite our differences, we can all find common ground and work together to make sure that Mobile is a great place to live for everyone, including the LGBT community. Because at the end of the day, we all really want the same thing, to live in a healthy and loving city where we can all work, live, play, worship, and raise our families peacefully while contributing to the community, the economy, and overall success of the city of Mobile. We believe in Mayor Sandy Stinson's visionary goal to unite the city, known as One Mobile, that will empower every Mobile to have a voice. Rainbow Mobile is very excited to start working in our community to help achieve this goal. And we hope to establish a great relationship with the City Council and all city officials by increasing the voice of LGBT Mobilians. Thank you all for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
No question.
Thank you.
Resolutions held over. 01665, authorize agreement with the Mobile Area Water and Sewer System for a shared GIS cloud system. 01666, authorize a local mutual aid agreement for supplemental fire, rescue, and EMS agreement with the City of Tuscaloosa. 01672, authorize project agreement with Mobile County Merchants Alabama LLC and MTC Logistics of Alabama LLC to develop, construct, equip, and start a new temperature-controlled and/or dry storage warehouse. 09667, reallocate monies from General Fund District 3 discretionary account to Mobile Police Department Traffic Safety Unit General Fund operating account to reimburse them for police security during the 2017 District 3 Holiday Parade. 21668, authorize contract amendment with Clark Gear Latham and Associates for Master Services Agreement, optional permit review increase. 20669, authorized contract with Mike McDonald for Dolphin Street from Sage Avenue to west of I-65 at Spring Hill Memorial Hospital. 35670, authorized lease agreement with Mobile County, Alabama to lease to the county 564 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue to operate and maintain the property as a cultural venue. 37671, approve the application of Wanda E. House doing business as And You Need a Ride, We Ride for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a taxi cab service.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 64025 through 88027.
The council rules these ordinances will lay for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 03673 through 6686.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 03673 through 60686.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
03673 to 677, reappointing A. Holmes Whitten and Shelbani Hall as full-time judges of municipal court. 31675, authorize the mayor to accept and receive funding from the ALEA Fiscal year 2016 Homeland Security Grant Program, no local match, 37676 and 677 are recommending approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a restaurant retail license and for a brew pub license for Iron Hand Brewing on State Street. 4678, 679, 680, 681, 682, 83, 84, or 683 are declaring structures public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 46684 renamed the Virginia Dillard Smith Building at the Tomanville Library to the Virginia Dillard Smith Branch, and that the signage be changed accordingly. 58685 declare weeds noxious, Group 1582, and 60686 approve award of special bonus to Firefighter of the Month as part of the Mayor's Incentive Program.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion?
Madam, Mr. Chairman, I just want to bring attention that in our presence, we do have the Honorable Holmes Whidden and Shabani Hall, and I am pleased to call them both my friend, and I'm honored that they have accepted our offer to serve our city for another 4 years. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Richardson.
I would just like to say ditto to Councilman Williams' comments. I know I've been knowing Shabani almost all of her life, and I've been knowing Judge Whitney ever since I've been on the council for more than 20 years. And they have done an outstanding job, and I'm proud to vote yes for both of them.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Councilman.
Mr. Small?
I'd like to go behind my council members, colleagues, Williams and Richardson. Many times I have district meetings throughout my district, and I don't even send an invite to the, municipal court to come, but when I look up, they always and present and willing to speak to the community. They be there for the Christmas parade, the Easter egg hunt is a very great support. Back to school for District 3, they always be there. One thing I can say that those two judges, they are touchable. They're not somewhere that you cannot touch them, but they are touchable, and they work in and throughout the community. And I'd like to say I'm proud to give you my vote on this morning. Thank you.
And I feel the same way. Keep up the great work. I'm proud of both of you. I wish that same community spirit go into some of our other judges, and we need to talk to them about it. And so thank you so much for what you do.
Mr. Chairman?
Mrs. Gregory?
While we're heaping praise, I just to add on, I do thank you for coming to my meetings, and as CJ said, we don't necessarily invite them, but they find out about them, and they come, and they show up, and they speak to the public, and it's really appreciated for you all to come, to be able to introduce yourselves to those who don't know you, and then also to be able to answer some questions about what it is you do. So we really appreciate the work that you were doing, and I don't want to say congratulations yet. It's not official, but very close.
I'd like to comment.
Sure. Mrs. Rick?
Again, I noted that all council people sponsored this initiative, and that's a very good sign that things are working right. There is a complete separation of power from legislative to judicial, and I respect that. But I also respect the two people that whose names are here, and we know their work ethic and their involvement in the community, and I thank them for their service as well.
Any other comment?
I would just close out by saying that our municipal court has become the leader of all of the municipal courts in the state of Alabama. Many of them have been enjoined from keep carrying on the way they have in the past, and they have come to our municipal court to see what we're doing so they can line up with us, and I credit those two judges for lining us up with the law and the great job that they are doing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01688 through 09702.
All right. Okay.
CIP resolution?
Oh, I missed it. I'm
Right.
sorry. CIP resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21687.
By council rules, this resolution level for 1 week.
Now, resolutions being introduced for the first 01688 through 09702.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 096889, 09690, 09694, 09695, 09696, 09697, 09698, 09699, 09700, and 09702, and the rest would lay over for 1 week by council rules.
Second.
With properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
09689, reallocate $140,000 from engineering and development, professional and technical expense to real estate asset management.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam City Clerk, if you could, let's take all of them
Okay.
at one time.
09690, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99, and 700 are reallocating monies from General Fund District 2 discretionary account to Parks and Recreation Department, District 1 discretionary account to various District 1 capital projects, District 2 discretionary accounts to Priority Projects District 2 capital, District 3 capital discretionary funds to District 3 discretionary capital account, District 4 discretionary funds to District 4 capital fund account, District 5 discretionary funds, District 5 discretionary capital account, District 6 discretionary funds to capital projects median beautification account, District 6, District 7 discretionary funds to District 7 capital fund account.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
09702, adopt a budget for the 2018-2019 fiscal year.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second, in addition?
Mr. Chair, I think there are some amendments that the clerk is in possession of that need to be read into this motion as an amendment. We'll take each one of them individually.
Amendment number 1, decrease personnel GovQuest, page 12, by $496,161. Increase library, page 12, by $496,161.
So move.
Second.
Been properly motion and any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Amendment passes.
Budget amendment number 2, decrease communications and external affairs, page 5, by $181,000. Decrease I-Team, page 11, by $36,000. Increase performance contracts by $217,000.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second, any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Williams?
This amount of money will equate to $192,000, restoring the decreases in performance contracts. The additional monies is an appropriation to VIA. From the 160, it'll take their total from 160 to 185 to enable them to do capital improvements that they have requested.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 3, Decrease I-Team, page 11, by $152,000. Increase Sports Authority, page 20, by $152,000.
So move.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Williams?
This amendment, which is number 3, is to increase or allocate the $152,000 through the Sports Authority as a pass-through for the 2019 HBCU bowl game.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 4, decrease I-Team, page 11, by $140,000. Increase Mobile Regional Community Center personnel, page 8, by $120,000. Increase Parks and Recreation by $20,000.
So move.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion?
Just for clarification, it was 240, and I'm not sure what I heard as the amount to be reallocated.
It's going to be amendment 5 if you're looking at it. It's going to come out separately.
Right.
I thought I heard 140, but I just want to make sure.
It is 140.
It is
240.
Slightly different. It's going to be 2 amendments. Yep.
Number 5.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice President,
Mr. Small?
just note that that will be an increase for the sale, art, teacher, and transportation, and also a park increase for Tremere Park Playground equipment, $20,000.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 5, decrease I-Team by $100,000. Increase engineering by $1,000.
So move.
Second.
Probably motion and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Just to note on this for clarification, the increase will go to the Hillsdale community for the park and also for some neighborhood improvements. And while I've got the floor, I did want to say one thing about the library, since we didn't provide any clarification on that. That does bring the library back up to level funding.
It does.
Earlier amendment.
Correct.
Again, any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 6, decrease I-Team, page 11, by $35,000. Increase Events Mobile by $35,000.
So move.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Great.
If not, any
Vice
discussion?
President,
Mr.
just
Small?
note that the increase on Mobile for $35,000 will be for the moon pot drop.
It's been properly motioned and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 7, decrease I-Team, page 11, by $104,851. Increase Public Works Administration, page 7, by $104,851.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Williams?
This increase combined with the $896,860 is already budgeted for incentive pay will result in $1,711,000 made available for a 5% merit increase to our public works employees.
Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 8, decrease council discretionary funds, page 12, by $10,500. Increase city clerk personnel, page 5, by $10,500.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 9, decrease liability fund, page 12, by $750,000. Increase Ladd Stadium, Public Parks and Recreation, page 14, by $750,000.
So move.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes.
Budget amendment number 10, decrease capital budget $75,000 for each district 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7 by $375,000. Increase public works miscellaneous concrete repairs by $375,000.
So moved.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, just
Mr.
before,
Williams.
I want to explain absence in this participation. I will work with the administration and which includes the public works, concrete repairs, to make sure that those all address CIP.
If I could.
Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. This is coming out of the each district's capital improvement funds, which are $3 million, and had unallocated programming to the tune of $436,000 when the council voted to change some of the initiatives that were being removed from capital funds for each district, and the 75, it was understood that $75,000 per district would go over to this line item to do smaller projects than the big CIP programs. When things, pardon the pun, fall through the cracks, your sidewalk's broken, but it's just 1 or 2 links in a neighborhood, as opposed to coming in and doing the entire neighborhood. It's a really good tool, and I look forward to the administration working with us to make that a reality for residents that are waiting for those small improvements in their neighborhoods. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Now back to the budget as amended.
Do we have a motion on?
It's on the floor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion and second. We're considering the original budget as it's been amended. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The budget passes.
Announcements.
Mr. Chairman, before we go to announcements,
Mr. Chair, I reserve the right to council speaking before being recognized.
Well, in light of that, Mr. Williams?
I would, I made a comment this morning that was partially incorrect. It was my understanding that we had until the first of the year to pass this budget. This council was given this budget on the 20th, and by law, by the 20th of September, is our deadline to pass the budget. The law further says that until the time when it is put into effect, the 20, in this case, the fiscal year 2018 budget would be in effect for operations. This was our first opportunity, as we saw it, following sufficient time to discuss among all council members the needed changes in the budget. The second comment I want to make in this case is that we, in this process, asked on multiple occasions, and myself very specific to the Director of Finance, the Finance Committee meeting, to offer us any assistance that they could with regard to how to achieve those things that we had targeted during the process. We are very specific about the areas of our concern, and we asked that help and allowed for time for the administration to respond. It was in absence of any response with regard to where to get the monies to restore cuts that we felt were unnecessary, that the council saw no other means other than to act. It's with saying that this council stands ready to work with the mayor and the administration to change funding sources for those things that we have funded in our amendments. That is not to say that we will change funding that those amendments made, but we will entertain, and I certainly would support any other sources of funding. It is now that I think it's important to recognize 99% of the budget as presented was passed. And I think this council has been extremely supportive of this administration that has done an outstanding job of putting us on a path to success. Yes. I'm glad to be a part of the team that is made by the council and our mayor and administration. It has certainly improved our city. Thank you.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir. Let me just say that I am very proud of this council for having lived up to its responsibility today. I never had a doubt. Let that be known that I never had a doubt. Let me commend the mayor and the administration, his administration, for all the hard work they did to put this budget together. It took a lot, and what I imagine happened is that the mayor got with all his department heads and listened to them, and they formulated the budget and passed it on to us. We act in a similar manner. We don't have department heads. We got with each other. We listened to each other, who was listening to the people, and we made some changes to the budget. A budget must reflect two things. It must reflect our value, and it must have transparency. And what we did is going to show up what we value. We give Penelope House more money because we believe that if a woman has been beaten, battered, and raped, she ought to have somewhere to go. Penelope House is that place. When a person, a child, a young lady been put out the house for various and sundry reasons, ought to be a place to go. McKinney Place, we gave them more money. And when there are homeless people among us, they need somewhere to go. The Salvation Army and our seniors among us who go to Ville, they ought to have somewhere to go. We made them whole and we helped them. And the same thing with the Connie Hudson Center. And our children, the Boys and Girls Club, we made them whole also. And there are a lot of people don't have these computers and all of this fancy equipment to work with. They don't have anything but the library to go to. And we made sure that the library was level funded, where these thousands of children and adults will have somewhere to go. And we feel good about what we have done, and we gave the HBCU the same amount of money that we're giving the Senior Bowl. We treat them all the same. And let me just say, when you add up the total amount of money for this budget, you're almost at $300 million. The little money we switched around, I doubt if it comes to $2 million. I'm saying what we did, we took the budget and we switched it around to make sure that those people and organizations that we represent, to make sure that we let them know we were listening to them. But when you compare what we moved around to the total budget, it's just a small part of that total budget. Now you might hear a loud cry, but I'm here to tell you, what we did is small in comparison to what we could have done. We could have switched the entire budget around. We didn't do that. We didn't touch police, public safety, do anything. We didn't touch anything over there. we thought that those public service workers deserve raise. We've given our first responders a raise. They're on the front line with us. They are, it's a core service they perform. We put one in the budget for them. We're not backing down from that. I feel good about what we have done, and I think it's time for us just to move on.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mrs. Rich?
Thank you very much. To also mention, the council is charged with only reallocating funds that are already shown and on the table. That is our only choice that the council has, unless they want to come up with another taxing venue, and we didn't have the opportunity, hopefully, to not do that anytime in the future. But in all seriousness, this was a budget that, according to the feedback this council received, there were priority needs that were widespread in the community that needed to be addressed, and therefore looking at the resources available, trying to put them into places where more of our citizens will be involved in, are already established, and groups and events that the city is very much a part of our fabric. I enjoyed working with my colleagues during this process, and it is also a time where a councilperson goes into overdrive because it's the one opportunity to set the course in motion. It will be up to the administration to actually see these things come to fruition. And I would hope that because the council did reprioritize some of the mayor's requests, which is what the budget basically is, it's a proposal, and then we take it from there in order to set the tone for the city's year financial wherewithal. The other thing is, you'll notice you heard the word I-Team a few times, and that was a Bloomberg grant, as our understanding, and that was a 3-year grant that is due to run out, and so therefore, knowing that was not a line department for the most part, but a new initiative to look at those resources and reprioritize, knowing that grant had ended. So that was one of the rationalizations behind that, and why you heard that so often as the funding source that we reallocated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Rich. Mrs. Gregory?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I do want to reiterate what some of my colleagues have said, and that is, it is our desire to work with the administration on the budget as we go forward. If there are any tweaks that need to be made for whatever reasons, we are here to listen and to make those changes need be. I would hope that going forward that we will work more collaboratively with the administration, among ourselves and everyone involved in bringing the department needs forward, so that we all know what the priorities are, we know what the budget is, we know where to take the funds from, and how to better listen to our citizens to make those changes. So that's something that I would like to see going forward. I thank my council members who participated on the task force, who brought these amendments forward and did the legwork for us. That was very much needed, so I appreciate their work. I want to thank everyone also listening to the community, the library in particular. That was a very important issue for me, because the library is one of the, if not the most highly used amenity in the city of Mobile, and increasing their programs and their services by $500,000 would just not have been feasible. So thank you to the members of the council for agreeing with me on that and doing what we can to bring those libraries up. I know there are a lot of changes. It was not the intention of this council to gut any department or to close down anything. It was our intention to listen to the citizens in our community, to do what is in their highest interest and their priorities to make everything work. And sometimes shifting our monies is very difficult. We did our best, but again, we are open to working with the administration collaboratively to make things work as we go forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I just want to echo the comments of a lot of my colleagues. Again, we're willing to work with the administration. I think we made that offer real clear even before we passed this particular budget, and that offer still stands if there needs to be some reconsideration. But I'm also pleased that some of the priorities that we were able to fund in this year's budget, level funding our public library system, given the resources necessary to level fund our performance contractors, particularly the VIA Center, because the VIA Center plays a unique role. I know it's not a city-owned building or facility, but it's our Connie Hudson Senior Center. That's what we have on this side of town, and they'll be able, hopefully through this budget, to not only be level funded, but to make some really key capital improvements there at the VIA Center, much needed improvements in their parking lot with security doors, things that would make it much safer and secure for our senior citizens as they go to the VIA Center. I'm happy to see the reallocation of funds for key positions and projects in parks and recreation. There's a direct correlation between that and the crime that we see amongst our youngsters. So I'm happy to see the reallocation of funds for that, and I'm especially proud of the resources that have been set aside for Ladd Stadium. Last Saturday proved that Ladd Stadium has life. Last Saturday proved that with the right promotion and with the right promoter and with the city as a partner, Ladd Stadium has vitality. And anyone that thought that Ladd was on his last legs should have come to the game Saturday. And you'll see that the old lady has a lot of running yet to do. And we want to make certain that she has the resources in order to do that running. She's not on her deathbed. You can bail on that. Ladd is not on her deathbed. And we will continue to support the management team and the board members there so that they have the resources necessary to make certain it doesn't ever get on its deathbed. And so I'm proud of what we've done in that regard. And we've been hearing for almost a year the hue and cry from our public service workers relative to raises, just as we've done with all other departments. And they've deserved it. Everything that they put the agenda relative to police and fire, I was happy to support it. If they put something else on the agenda, I'll be happy to support it. But we also have, and we're learning that, because I'm getting all these calls about the garbage not being picked up, the trash not being picked up. We're learning that these individuals matter. And they ought to not just matter in word, they ought to matter in deed, and they matter in this budget. Because we set aside the resources to give them a 5% raise. Now, it will be up to the administration. Let's just put that out there in order to move forward with the raise. Similar to with retiree health care. We put the money up there, and the administration is charged with discharging and moving forward. So I'm hopeful that that will be the case. This isn't a perfect budget, but I don't know of any city in the state, any federal government that passes a perfect budget. But it does reflect the people's values here in the city of Mobile. And I'm proud to have voted for it. Any other comments from
Vice
the council?
President.
Small.
I got skipped.
My fault. It wasn't intentional. It was not intentional.
But
Mr. Small.
But pretty much, Dito, to what my colleagues have stated. But I would like to, thanks to the mayor and administration for putting together the proposed 18-19 budget. But also special thanks to the budget task force, which had consist of Councilwoman Rich, Councilmember Williams, and Richardson, for working so hard on this budget. They heard from the citizens. The council heard from the citizens regarding what they feel, what the city priorities are, and was presented in a minute or just a few core items that's dealing with our city to ensure that certain core items was restored and properly funded. The council realized and have always realized that we can't meet the desires of many wants, but we have to work what we have to work with within a month's time. Again, I'd also like to thank you, Vice President Manzi, for coordinating the special task force and the Special Task Force for bringing us to this point on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Small, and I join you thanking the Special Task Force. You did an awesome job under some trying circumstances at times. Mr. Richardson, Mr. Williams, and Mrs. Rich, thank you for all of your efforts. We want to thank our finance chair, who's not here today. I believe he's flying to France, but we want to thank Joe Thomas Davis for all of his support as we formulated this budget. Any announcements for administration?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So what I was going to ask you before is just ask that what was read into the record in the way of amendments be provided to the administration, one, and then two, that it be actually added to the minutes attached. Thank you, sir.
I think that, yes, sir, that'll happen. Do I hear a motion?
The City Council will not meet on October 2nd. The regular meeting will be held on October 9th.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Looks good.
Yes, yes. I'm going to wear pink all